Here in Europe, as you work to strengthen your union, including through labor and banking reforms and by ensuring growth across the Eurozone, you will have the staunch support of the United States. But you're going to have to do it together because your economies are too integrated to try to solve these problems on your own.
That, of course, President Obama in Germany defending the European Union and also supporting the EU. Now, while the president was in England, he did take some heat for his defense of the UK staying in the Union. People there said, hey, it wasn't his business to get involved in what was going on there. Now, the congressman, he served on the Foreign Affairs Committee, so we wanted to get him to weigh on that and also a couple other issues going around the globe. So first off, Steve, should the president have stuck his nose in there, or was he out of line?
I think with friends, it's important, especially if you're invited, and Prime Minister Cameron invited him to give his opinion on whether Great Britain should leave the European Union. Of course, in the U.S.'s mind, it would be a bad thing if Great Britain left the European Union. So when you're dealing with friends, whether it's Netanyahu coming to the Congress at the invitation of the Speaker of the House, or Obama going to Great Britain at the invitation of the Prime Minister, I think it's okay amongst friends.
How tenuous is the EU, you believe?
Well, it's fairly tenuous, and in my opinion, Great Britain should not leave. There are reforms that can be made in the way the EU functions, but so let's go for the reforms. Don't pull out Great Britain.
Let's go next to North Korea, and that country continues to test ballistic missiles, and that continues to violate UN sanctions. So the question is, are we doing enough with North Korea? And we've done a few other things that I know you'll mention right now that the public may not be as aware of, that strategically down the line we're going to look back and say, that was smart.
Well, in March and April of this year, 2016, 15,000 U.S. troops joined 300,000 South Korean troops in South Korea to conduct military exercises right at North Korea's doorstep. Military exercises about defending against missiles, but also offensive operations to depose the North Korean leadership and to destroy North Korea's nuclear facilities. You know, we have 28,000 troops there now. We have anti-missile systems there now, 3 Patriot anti-missile batteries, and we're proposing bringing the THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defensive System, to South Korea, our most powerful high-altitude ballistic missile defensive system. Now, it's right on China's doorstep. This THAAD system would be on China's doorstep as well as North Korea's, but China's just going to have to get over it, according to Obama and our defense secretary. We need to get the message through to this lunatic in North Korea that his testing of ballistic missiles and nuclear technology is unacceptable.
But it's as much, if not much more, about China than even North Korea. And for example, a little item, the idea that we're getting close to put a base in Vietnam, think about that. Think how inconceivable a generation ago that would have been. It's all because of the uncertainty of China and China's aspirations in the Middle, in the East, in Asia. Talk about how the next president, whoever it is, that's going to probably be as big a concern as any, even more than Russia and everything else in the Cold War. What is China's motivations here, and what we can do, whether it be with allies in position, to kind of stem that?
Well, as you know, the president has made a reset to China, and it's not just a slogan. History will record he made significant progress, and if they pass the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, that will be even a bigger step to confront China's economic monopolies and bad behavior. But we just signed an agreement with Guam, the Philippines, to put U.S. forces back in those bases in the Philippines. We just signed an agreement with India to have storage of military equipment and other paraphernalia there as well.
From China?
Well, we're worried that China's trying to get a foothold in the South China Sea on some of those disputed islands, disputed amongst the nations in the region. And we've sent aircraft carrier groups and others to try to deter China from making that permanent military bases. It's not in China's interest to go that far. Now, why is that important to us, these islands in the South China Sea? Because it's on a major international trade route.
Yeah. Do they want to become a global superpower militarily?
No,
they don't.
They just want to protect what they have. They want to be able to get natural resources when they need to, and sell to whom they wish to sell, and not be boxed in by anybody.
Now, we go to Israel, our strongest ally in the Middle East without a doubt. But President Obama has had a strained relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu. So, first of all, in your eyes, how much of this is legitimate on the part of Netanyahu, that the president hasn't been a good friend, and how much of this is manufactured for internal Israeli politics on his part?
I don't know why he's saying these things, but history will record that Obama is probably the best U.S. president for Israel in American history.
And you know better than I do. In a lot of Jewish populations in this country, he's not seen that way.
Well, let's look at the facts.
Why?
Obama's the only one of the last 9 presidents never to challenge Israel at the United Nations Security Council. Obama's provided more military and intelligence cooperation and aid than ever. Obama just had Operation Juniper Cobra, 1,500 U.S. forces in Israel with 2,000 Israeli forces, intelligence, anti-missile systems, cyber. What did they practice there in February and March of 2016? Long-range bombing, cyber warfare, anti-missile defense. Plus, Obama's just signed off on Israel getting our most sophisticated offensive weapon, the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter aircraft.
Easy for you to say.
And it is generations ahead of anything in the Middle East, far ahead of anything in Russia or China as well. Plus, the U.S. is now negotiating, Obama is, a 10-year agreement to extend and enhance the package of already amazing offensive and defensive capabilities that Israel has. Because
he talks about the Palestinian state, he talks about...
But if you ask, for example, on the Iran nuclear deal, there were 2 existential threats against Israel, only 2. The 21,000 chemical weapons warheads that Syria possessed and an Iranian nuclear program. Obama got rid of the 21,000 nuclear warhead chemical threat program from Syria, and he got rid of or put a damper on and stopped for 15 years the Iranian nuclear program. Those were the only 2 existential threats, notwithstanding the terror of Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Palestinians and ISIS.
I got only a minute or so left here, but explain to the public why Israel is so critical for U.S. national security.
We get about 100 times more benefit for every dollar we give to Israel than they get. Than we give away to Israel. They have to buy 75% of the money they get, they have to use to buy our military equipment. Without Israel, God forbid, imagine what the Middle East would look like. It would be a sea of totalitarians, anti-democratic rule, and terrorists. Israel is on the Mediterranean, right by the Suez Canal, right by the Red Sea. Israel's military and intelligence capabilities are in the top 2 or 3 in the world, and they are our ally, and they've helped us improve our weaponry, improve our intelligence. We are phenomenal partners, Israel and the United States of America. That's why, notwithstanding any personal disagreements between Obama and Netanyahu, they will both agree, as will both heads of their defense and intelligence establishments, that the level at the height of military and intelligence cooperation between our 2 nations has never been higher, and Israel is poised offensively and defensively with Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow 2, Arrow 3. These are U.S. Israel missile systems to defend against and destroy anyone who threatens Israel.
You actually learned some stuff in Congress, huh?
That's
pretty impressive. Thank you for taking us around the world, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Look forward to it again.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We come back. We're going to pivot back to the presidential race. Trump rallies. They are free-for-all, as you know, but they may be even a little scarier than you think. I'm going to tell you about how bikers are basically not just pro-Trump backers, but they're actually vigilantes too at these events. We'll talk about that straight ahead.